Hey everyone, and a special welcome to all you quality professionals out there. If you're obsessed with turning good processes into great ones, then you are absolutely in the right place. Today, we're cracking open the toolbox from the ISO 1009 standard to look at some essential performance tools.
This is the big one, isn't it? It's that question that kind of keeps us up at night. That nagging feeling that somewhere, deep in the workflow, there's a bottleneck, a bit of waste, or some hidden inefficiency that's just begging to be discovered. Well, today, we're going to arm you with the tools to hunt it down and fix it for good.
So here's our game plan for today. We're going to kick things off by figuring out how to find the single biggest problem in your system. Then we'll learn to see your process through your customer's eyes, separating what truly adds value from what's just waste. After that, we'll get visual and actually map the workflow, bring some order to the chaos, and finally, we'll take a peek at how you can expand your toolkit even further.
Okay, so let's jump right into that first critical step. How in the world do you find the one thing that's holding everything else back? For that answer, we turn to a powerhouse of an idea called the theory of constraints. The theory of constraints, or TOC as you'll often hear it, is all about laser focus. The core idea is that in any complex system, there's usually just one single factor limiting its performance. Think about a super busy cafe. You could have 5 amazing baristas ready to go, but if there's only one coffee machine, well, that machine is your constraint. The entire cafe's output is capped by that one piece of equipment.
And the great thing about Talk is it gives you a clear 5-step playbook. First, you identify that constraint. Step 2, you figure out how to address it and squeeze every last drop of performance out of it. Third, you focus every other part of the process on supporting that constraint. Fourth, you correct the issue. Maybe that's a new machine, a process change, whatever it takes. And finally, and this is key, you go right back to step 1. Because as soon as you fix one bottleneck, a new one will pop up somewhere else. It's a never-ending cycle of improvement.
So what's the big payoff here? Well, the most powerful benefit is you get way more out of the resources you already have. By focusing all your energy on that one bottleneck, you unlock better flow, you increase your capacity, and that leads directly to things like shorter lead times and less inventory just sitting around. It's all about smarter, focused improvement.
So once you've found your main bottleneck, the next move is to look at your entire process through a completely new lens, the lens of value.
And that brings us to Value Stream Management, or VSM. This is such a powerful way to see things. It's about mapping every single activity that happens, from the moment you get raw materials to the second the product is in your customer's hands. And at every single step, you're forced to ask a really important question. Is this something my customer actually values, or is it just waste? And this right here is where the rubber meets the road. A value-adding activity is anything the customer is actually willing to pay for. It changes the form, fit, or function of the product or service. Everything else, that's non-value-adding. Think about it. Waiting for parts, moving boxes around, fixing mistakes. Your customer doesn't care about any of that. It's pure waste. This is why a value stream map is so brilliant. You create this visual flowchart of your entire process, showing every step, every delay, every single handover. It gets the whole team on the same page, literally, allowing everyone to see the waste and then work together to design a leaner, better future. Now, to help us spot that waste, we can use a concept called MUDA. This is a cornerstone of the legendary Toyota production system. MUDA is the Japanese word for wastefulness, and it gives us a fantastic checklist of things to go hunt for in our processes. Okay, here they are, the 8 classic wastes. You've got transportation, which is just moving stuff around more than you need to. Inventory, all that cash tied up in things just sitting on a shelf. Motion, so wasted human effort, people walking back and forth. Waiting, just dead time. Then there's overproduction, making more than is needed right now. Overprocessing, doing extra work the customer doesn't even value. And of course, the big ones. Defects that need to be fixed, and the often overlooked waste of not using your team's full skills. Just think for a second, which of these are hiding in your workplace?
All right, now let's zoom in on a tool that makes one of those wastes we just mentioned, motion, painfully, and I mean painfully, visible. It's called a spaghetti diagram, and trust me, it's for a very good reason. You literally take a floor plan of a workspace and draw a line that follows the path a person or a product takes to get a job done.
A classic example is a nurse on a hospital ward. You trace every single step she takes over a shift, from the patient's room to the supply closet, over to the computer, back to the patient. You get the idea. What you usually end up with is a before diagram that looks like a tangled mess of spaghetti. It's just chaos, full of backtracking and wasted movement. The goal then is to analyze that chaos and redesign the workspace. Maybe you move the supplies closer to where they're used, and you create an after diagram that's clean, direct, and just makes sense. It is so simple, but so incredibly effective. Okay, so we've charted the messy paths. Now let's talk about organizing the workspace itself, measuring how well it performs, and smoothing out the flow of work.
And for that, we start with 5S. You can think of 5S as the absolute foundation for any high-quality work environment. It's a systematic approach to getting a space clean, organized, and set up for maximum efficiency. And hey, this isn't just for a factory floor. You can apply 5S to your desk, to your computer files, even to your kitchen at home.
So, the 5 pillars guide you through it. You start with SARI, which is all about organization, sorting what you need from what you don't. Then comes SEITAN, or orderliness, a place for everything and everything in its place. Third is SEISO, which is cleanliness. Pretty straightforward. Fourth is SEIKATSU, or standardization. This is about making these new habits routine. And finally, the toughest one of all, SHITSUKE, which means to sustain. It's about building the discipline to keep the system going long-term. Now, once your space is organized, it's time to measure its performance. And the gold standard metric here is called Overall Equipment Effectiveness, or OEE. It's fantastic because it boils down how well a machine or a process is running into a single score. It does that by looking at 3 things. Availability, is it running when it's supposed to be? Performance, is it going as fast as it can? And quality, is it making good parts? And here's where OEE really shines. It doesn't just give you a number. It shows you exactly where you're bleeding effectiveness. It points right to the sources of your losses, whether it's from unplanned stops like a breakdown, slow cycles where the machine is chugging along, or production rejects you have to throw away. It forces you to stop guessing and start confronting the real problems. Finally, in this section, let's talk about production leveling, also known by its Japanese name, Hijunka. The whole idea here is to avoid the whiplash of making things in huge batches. So instead of making 1,000 blue widgets on Monday and 1,000 red ones on Tuesday, you'd aim to make 100 of each every hour. This smooths out the peaks and valleys, which reduces inventory and makes the whole system calmer and much more predictable. The tools we've just run through are incredibly powerful, no doubt about it, but they're really just the start. Your journey into process improvement has a much, much wider horizon. You know, as you keep going, your toolkit is just going to get bigger and bigger. You'll discover things like SMED, which is a way to slash machine changeover times from hours down to just minutes. You'll learn about total productive maintenance, empowering the people who run the machines to help maintain them. You might bring in MRP systems for better planning, or adopt frameworks like Agile for managing projects. And of course, in the digital world, robotic process automation can take over those repetitive tasks. Each one is another powerful instrument in your orchestra of continuous improvement. So, there you have it. We've taken a tour of the toolbox. We've seen how to find constraints, how to hunt down waste, and how to create order and flow. The only question left, and it's the most important one, is this. Now that you have the tools, which inefficiency in your world are you going to tackle first?